Hey guys, BJ on GameDay back here for week 4 of NRL Supercoach. Pretty tough week, obviously a lot of injuries, a few suspensions, and just ultimately, except for a couple other players, a bit of low scoring. How'd you go, Brent?
Yeah, mate, I got 1049 this week, so cracked the 1,000. Happy with that. I think it's a pretty good goal each week, just try and crack the 1,000 at the moment.
Yep.
So jumped up about 400 spots in the rankings, so back in that top 1,000, which is a bit of a goal
Nice.
for me. So went from 1390 to 974, so happy with that. And hopefully I can keep the cogs turning. What about yourself?
Yeah. Mate, bit of a better week for me, 1,113 points. Jumped up from about 38,000 up to about 14,000, so definitely heading in the right direction. Obviously a long way to go, but yeah, pretty happy. He's back, something like that. So yeah, but mate, a few good scores in the BJ and GameDay League. Teddy picked up the best for the week at 1122, so he jumped up a couple of spots. You're still out there in front, mate, so holding up the team, which is good. And I've managed to climb from last place up to 7th, so pretty happy with that. And the league, we jumped back up a little bit. We were back down in 99th spot, and we've jumped up to 77th. So
Beautiful.
Good effort, guys.
Beautiful.
Keep all those good picks going, and obviously, yeah, a few things to watch out over the next couple of weeks, as we said, with injuries and suspensions. Bit of a special mention. One bloke who never made it in the league. We had 10 spots up for grabs. Sean, the newbie, his team is called. We gave him a spot in my work league, and he had a massive 1,235 points last week. So well done to him. But yeah,
Good stuff. So we'll start off with some injuries
yeah,
this week, I reckon, mate. And there's been quite a few, some big ones, and most notably the biggest one of all, I'd have to say, would be Tommy Turbo. For
yeah,
those that have him.
yes,
So it looks like it is ankle syndesmosis.
Yep.
Is the verdict on that. At the moment, it looks like it's going to be a couple of weeks worst case at this stage, but he has been named in the 21-man squad for
yeah,
Manly this weekend, and I have seen this happen before where Trbojevic has been allegedly injured and not going to play because I remember they were meant to be playing Newcastle, and he
Yep.
ended up playing that game.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if they will risk him against the Titans, but at this early stage of the season, it might be a punt that Barrett will take.
You've only got to look 2 weeks ago. Joey Leilua, people were talking about him being out for 6 or 8 weeks. He came on, he had a cracker of a game. So fingers crossed. We're both turbo owners. So hopefully he can get a spot this weekend.
And obviously after that monster score on the weekend of 158, was it, in the end he finished up on, against the Titans, it'd be so cruel to have him not play, but it looks like he might not at this stage if I had to go with my gut.
Mate, I was travelling for Easter. I was listening to the game on the radio, and basically every second name they just mentioned was Trbojevic. And mate, the points just kept racking up. I thought, this is gold. I finally picked a good captain, you know, and 158 points. I'm not too sure how far into the second half he came off, but yeah, massive effort, massive week.
Yeah, it was something we were all waiting for, and he's finally delivered. So anyone that outlaid that big cash early, this is what you did it for. So
Exactly.
yeah, a few other injuries, mate.
Yep, Aidan Tolman for the Dogs. Obviously, a few people might have him in their team. He's out for 8 to 10 weeks. There's a bit of talk about him getting traded over to Cronulla, so I'm sure those talks will stall for the moment. A bunch of ACLs over the weekend. A lot of young guns just sort of going out with ACLs, which is tragic to see. None more so than Tautau Moga, who's obviously gone through his 3rd one at the moment. So all the best to him. Hopefully he can get on the recovery part a little bit quicker. Yeah, alongside him, Kalepi Tanganoa, which was a cheapie a few people had, and also Curtis Sirinen. All those boys will be out for the rest of the season. From the Melbourne Storm, Dale Finucane, he's got a thumb injury, 4 to 6 weeks out for him. Jordan McLean for the North Queensland Cowboys, 10 to 12 weeks for him with a foot injury. Not too sure the extent of it, but obviously 10 to 12 weeks, pretty severe. Sean Johnson, we saw him as a late withdrawal last week, upset a lot of Supercoach players. He has been named to start again this week. Hopefully that'll hold up and we'll see him back this week. But look, I've never seen a groin injury that was just done and dusted in 1 week. So I do have my, my hesitation with that, whether he'll actually be back.
Yeah, and I did something which I would definitely never recommend to any Supercoach. Once I heard the news of the groin and that he was ruled out, and I was having an ordinary week because this was before Turbo had played, I panic traded him out. I went to DC. I went SJ to DCE because I thought if he's out this week and they've ruled at least 1 to 3 and it's a groin, I can't trust it.
Rage.
I panicked. I'd call it a panic trade. I wouldn't rage trade it. That was the only trade I ended up making for the week. DCE had a low break even. He scored about 58 points or something like that. And I did have a quick look. They had a pretty good run. Thought they were playing the Titans next week, which was maybe a walkover, but then they produced a good performance after that. But so now I've got a bit of an issue. Do I need to get SJ in? I'm not sure. They do have a bit of a tough run over the next few weeks.
Yeah,
that also helped my decision.
Yep.
I'm trying to just convince myself it was a good thing to do, but I would never recommend it. I'm trigger happy, I told you, and I ended up pulling the trigger, so we'll see how that one plays out for me.
We talk about the injuries and the suspensions. Sammy Burgess out for 2 weeks, found guilty tonight at the judiciary. Look, I saw it in play. It looked bad, but I don't think it's worth 2 weeks on the sidelines.
Yeah, I guess the main issue was the carryover points. He'd already had an indiscretion in round 2 with Reed and Campbell-Gillard. So he took the early guilty plea with that, got some carryover points. So normally he wouldn't have got anything for this particular one, but because he had that carryover, if he did take the early guilty plea, he was always going to miss a match. Decided to fight it. I personally think it was just one of those ones that could have gone either way. It just depended on the day. I know Anthony Seibold, their coach, South coach, came out publicly and said, he'll get off it, and that's probably the worst thing I reckon you can do as a coach by saying there's nothing, and he's got nothing to answer for, because he ended up having something to answer for, and he's now going to miss the next 2 weeks. Supercoach-wise, it's a massive blow. If you've got him in the front row, where a lot of people do, or even the back row, it was just something we didn't need right now. If you don't have him, you're probably laughing. But this is the kind of thing Sammy Burgess can do, unfortunately. He does have, because he's so aggressive, he does have these things in his game. He's obviously a hold. You can't sell him on this. You've got to hold him. But, very disappointing, and it'll be interesting to see how people fill that gap over the next few weeks.
A lot of highs and lows from the weekend. We talked about Tommy Trbojevic. The other big one, cash cow, and I don't have him, and I'm kicking myself, but it's too late now. Philip Semi.
Yeah, mate. So, obviously, I reckon probably not really on a lot of people's radar, to be fair, until the game on the weekend where he's produced a hat-trick. I haven't looked at his ownership percentage, so I'm not entirely sure how many people do have him, but he's not in a lot of teams that when I've been having a look.
Yep.
Pumped out the massive 139 on the weekend. I know I looped Turbo on the weekend and I dropped Sammy to play him, and it would have been better off not looping in the end because of the score he produced. But that being said, he's gone from around 240,000 to now being worth about 380,000, and he's got a negative 40 break even. So the guy's just all of a sudden turned into this amazing cow.
Negative 40, you can still jump on if you like, but 380 for me is just a little bit too rich. But I can't blame anyone who does chase the points. Again,
if there's like a Vunivalu or something like that in your team, and you're just trying to get off them and save yourself some cash in case they plummet again, there's still that option there. But he's ended up now. I was a bit worried about his job security when I brought him in a couple of weeks ago. But I think now, just based on the last couple of weeks and especially on the weekend, he's just made that jersey his. So very much loving that one. Even though I didn't get his points, it was a little bit bittersweet. But I'm still enjoying that. I'm going to make a lot of cash on him now.
Fair enough. Mate, buy holds and sells. The buy list for the week. Look, it obviously gets pretty tough now. Everyone's sort of got that core of their team set up. We've seen a lot of the cheapies that jump up in price. A few people out there still with low BEs, like we talked about with Philip Semi. Who's on the buy list for you, mate?
Yeah, so I guess another one, a main one I've been looking at, and a lot of people are looking at, Dry Arrow. Obviously, he's started to get a few more minutes, and his base is as good as anyone that I've seen. A lot of people are also talking about Cam Murray, but if you think you've missed the boat on Murray, Dry Arrow is a really good alternative. He's I don't know what's changed, but he's now got those minutes. He's only worth about 411k. He's got a break even of around 17, so if he keeps doing what he's doing now, again, he's going to be really relevant. And in a Supercoach climate where it's been difficult to pick some consistent forwards, I think he's a really good option this week. I know personally myself, I'm looking to get rid of Trent Merrin, so I'm having a good look at maybe Arrow.
Yeah, I'm probably looking at the same trade this week.
He's one of the bigger ones for myself. What about you, mate? You've got anyone in particular?
I've had an eye on the Warriors' utility, Jazz Tavanga. He's had a good couple of weeks. He hasn't had a price rise yet. He's only played the 2 games. So this week, I haven't checked his BE just yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be in the negative somewhere. So look, 257,000. I think he's someone that's just got that sort of utility spot on the bench at the Warriors all sewn up. Isaac Luke, you can never be too certain of how long he's going to last through a season. Nathaniel Roach is out there, so I just think he's got that spot, and he's good for a sort of 40 to 50 average, which is going to see a few price rises. So, mate, he's on my buy list. Another one on my buy list is Jordan Rapana. Mm-hmm. A lot of people losing a little bit of faith to the Raiders. Losing a little bit of faith with Rapana. He has dropped a ton of cash. He's down to about 548,000 now. Look, I can't fit him in this week, but yeah, definitely in the next week or two, I'm going to get him in for sure. I just think he's too good a player. He's shown how dynamic he is. All those signs are still there this season. He just, the Raiders just haven't had a click so far. So. A lot like Parramatta, I think it will happen eventually. Mm-hmm. Both teams have just got too good a roster to let it affect them.
Yep, and I think as we've mentioned in the last week or two, there's a heap of guys that are going to be starting to get pretty ripe.
Yeah.
Some premium guys that are going to have some high break-evens that are going to come into some very affordable space. Jamestown Malolo to be another one that I'm having a good look at. 87-ish break-even, something like that this week. Played a few extra minutes on the weekend. I think with McLean being out, he could take up a few more minutes. And I'm just waiting for someone like that. Someone like McLean. I mean, you got Munster who's hit 500k, which is just crazy. Guys like that you can start taking a punt on. That are premiums that I think you're going to have to start jumping on to take a risk.
Proven guns in the past. You look at Cam Smith as well. He's dropped 100k since the start of the year. Yeah. Before footy was kicked, everyone was just like, he's got to be your hooker. But obviously things change. But yeah, he's definitely someone, you can look at getting in, upgrading from, Damien Cook's going well, Appy Coruscant's been going well, a couple of other, Andrew McCulloch. So, you can always look at getting in Smith because, tried and proven.
And another interesting thing that's, I think, really affected the Supercoach scores has been these penalties. Like, if you're getting, as we saw in that Melbourne Cronulla game on the weekend, 33 penalties, the amount of stoppages in play, it's just soaking points up. You're not getting that free-flowing footy and those repeat, flowing sets and that sort of thing. It's actually killing points. I know Cam Smith got binned, obviously, on the weekend as well, but that's actually, in my opinion, really starting to affect some of these scores of guys, and it's something to keep an eye on.
It's massive. 33 penalties in that game. The highest score, I think, was 55 amongst those on the field. Like, the highest score of 55 for a Supercoach game is just ridiculous. There's barely a game that goes by in seasons past where someone didn't crack the ton. So you're 100% right. You look at games that are a little bit more free flowing on the weekend, like the Dragons and the Knights and that, and scores everywhere across the park. So be interesting.
Yeah, and I think maybe Melbourne are a team to watch where they do try and play the ball down and constrict the ruck and that sort of thing. Maybe they're going to start to get penalised a bit more, and maybe you're going to have a think about whether Cam Smith is someone that you want. It's interesting.
Who are we holding, mate?
Yep, so again, I've said it once, I'll say it again. Anthony Milford. I can't bring myself to get rid of him, and I've now lost about 100k on him.
Yeah.
It is now just a matter of ride the roller coaster, which hasn't gone up yet. It has just continually gone down. He was absolutely woeful against the Titans. I think Brisbane have got to bring back some second phase footy, to be honest. Get those offloads away, because what they're doing at the moment is just killing their heart. They just
look so boring. They look like a team that's completely uninterested, which is so unfamiliar for a Wayne Bennett coach side. He finds ways to get his teams up, and I'm sure he will again, but they need to change something.
They play us this week. They play the Newcastle Knights this weekend. Bennett in the past has sort of said to the players, all right, well, you guys go out and play the footy you want to play. I think when you got guys like TPJ, who might be back this week, Matty Lodge, and even guys like Sam Fido, who can get a ball away, let them do it. Guys like Nicarima and Milford are made for that broken play footy.
Yep.
Jimmy Roberts, that sort of thing. I reckon they got to bring back the offload. I know Bennett isn't a fan of it. It's not his style. Maguire's got an offload. Like, they've all got it. I think let them do it.
He's
trying
to turn off-the-cuff players into structured players. And in a game where things are so professional nowadays, it's so hard to do that. You need season after season to do that. And I just don't think they're there.
And I think that a few teams have maybe worked them out.
Yeah.
You can't really predict second phase footy.
No.
When a guy has 3 men on him and gets a ball away, you can't plan that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. As I said, I'd hate to think he's going to drop under 500, but he may, and I'm just going to keep riding that Milford roller coaster, mate. What about you? Any others?
Mate, a hold for me is Sauce, Joshy Mansour. Look, I've had him since the start of the season. A few highs, a few lows. Nothing really too outrageous so far, considering what he's done in the past. But I just, from what I saw from Penrith on the weekend there against the Cowboys, his time's going to come again. So he's a hold for mine. Other blokes like Angus Crichton and things like that. We've seen a few of the forwards that have just started off the season so-so. You talked about Tamalolo. Burgess another one. Crichton. I just think if you started with these guys at the start of the season, they're just a hold. So yeah.
Munster, another big one for me. If you got Munster, hold him. I think Melbourne are another side that have to try and change something. Munster ran the ball late in that game on the weekend, as you would have seen, and created something. I think they need more of that. He has to be getting the ball and he has to be taking the line on. Yeah. I think guys like Munster, Smith, Taumalo, Rapana, if you've got them, hold them, don't get off them, because unless you're banking like 150k plus to whoever you're going to, it's not worth it in my opinion. But I mean, it's your team, do what you want, but I'd be holding guys like that for sure. Yeah.
What about the sell list, mate? Anyone you thought of?
I guess some of the guys I'll be looking at, Cartwright for one. I was one of his biggest fans coming into the season. I'm a little bit hesitant to sell him, but I think he's a sell. I don't know what's going on there. I mean, we've had a chat before. I just can't get a read on it. He got a couple of minutes on the weekend, and that was just because Proctor had to come off with a cut by the HIA.
Yeah.
As much as it disappoints me to say it, and I hope I don't regret it, I think Cartwright is a sell.
Yeah. You look at what Jared Hayne did there, and these teams that buy that one player to try and impact the whole team, it seems like they do better without him at the moment. I mean, you've got your players in the league that are class players, your JTs and your Cam Smiths that are tried and proven over so many years. Cartwright obviously had that breakout season at Penrith. For me, he's got to be a sell. He hasn't dropped a massive amount of cash, but I just think, get rid of him.
Yep. I think someone, again, like I've said before, Vunivalu, Adokar, these guys were premium price wingers. I think if you've still got them, it might be time to get off them. I think Cooper Cronk removing himself from that Melbourne side has really affected that. And they're just not, they're due to score some tries because they haven't now for a fair while, but they're just not the same players without Cooper Cronk in that side.
Again, we talk about the penalties and how that affects it. You look at Melbourne, they just look at a shadow of their former team because you slow the ruck down so much, you slow the plays down so much. These guys who are so dynamic don't have all the energy that they used to have, more than slowing forwards and stuff. So, they just don't look like they're going to score anymore. I've got no doubt Melbourne will turn it around. They always do. But is that 4 or 6 weeks away? Can you afford to have players like that scoring 10 and 15 for the next 4 weeks? You just can't.
No, definitely not, mate.
Trades this week, mate?
Yeah, so I'm having a good look at Trent Merrin. I think I've had enough. I started with him, so unlike a lot of people I think who brought him in, I haven't wasted 2 trades if I trade him out, which is nice. I've had enough. I was going to go Merrin to Murray last week, but I gave him that last chance and he was just stunk it up.
Yeah.
I was a bit salty that Murray scored that try right at the end as well, because he was only going to get about mid-40s or something like that. I was filthy about
Cam Murray, another one this week, mate.
So I've got enough in the bank to make a couple of pretty good trades this week, I think. I'm looking at a couple back rowers.
Yep.
I think Merrin will go and probably Cardi will go.
Yep.
And looking at guys like Murray and guys like Arrow, depending on the team list. I think I wasn't going to get on Murray, and I was salty to you about it all weekend.
Yep.
I think Burgess now being out, he could see some increased minutes maybe.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's where I'm looking now.
Okay. Cool.
So,
mate, for me, I'm going to go one the same. I'm going to go Trent Merrin. Look, I bought him in for Burgess in round 2. He hasn't done what I thought he would. I'm going to, get rid of Merrin. Going to bring in Jai Arrow. Really impressed with him over the first 4 weeks. I think what we saw last week against the Brisbane Broncos was that pack that the Titans need to have out there with James back up front. And, Jai Arrow looks great in the 13. Base stats are just awesome. So, if you go on that alone, he's still going to average 60 and get some money. The other one I'm going to go, Kalepi Tanganoa. We talked about him, obviously he did his ACL. Can't just have him sitting there. So I'm going to drop him out and I'm going to bring in Jazz Tavanga from the Warriors. Again, I just look at him as a player with upside. He's obviously not a keeper, but if you can earn me 150 grand over the next few weeks, I'm happy enough with that.
Yep. I think if you are going to trade Kalepi Tanganoa, someone like that's probably a good option. I know personally, I think I'm going to hold him for a little while. He gives that loop option, but I have to think there's going to be another cheapie forward come from somewhere in the next few weeks, because there's nothing much there now. If you've got Griffin, you've got Rocco.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hold him personally.
Yep.
Someone else we didn't mention as well, I think people can get on, is young Crichton, the Penrith winger.
Yep.
Maybe if you want to get rid of I don't know, if you've still got a Katoa or a Lomax and you just want to trade him in for someone that's going to make some cash. He hasn't set the world on fire, but he's going to make a bit of cash.
Yeah.
How his job security is, I'm not too sure.
Well, DWZ looks like he's gone till about round 8, so he's good for another 3 weeks at least, which might get you a couple of price rises.
Yeah, young pup's probably due for a pie as well.
Yeah.
Another one I'm having a good look at, I've got my eye on, is George Jennings for Para. He obviously went well on the weekend. He's only going to be playing his second game this weekend, and just that security isn't as good. But I've got a Lomax in my side.
Yeah.
I've got a Dewey in my side. Maybe in a couple of weeks it could be a good cash grab there.
Very good. Yeah. But that's it for this week, folks. Thanks for joining us again. Hit the like and the subscribe button down below, and we'll catch you all next week.
Yeah, thanks for jumping in, guys. I think if you want to hear us talk about anything in particular, put a comment down below. Let us know what you want us to chat about. And I reckon, I'm thinking maybe round 5, round 10, round 15, round 20, round 25. For those guys in the league, maybe we'll give a bit more of a detailed run through on where everyone's at in the league.
Sounds good.
Points wise and stuff like that. So,
sounds good.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, guys.